get on with this little starter task. And then I will point you at my face and we'll get started. Can you bring a knife as well? So you need to bring a normal glass of water with curved sides, some Play-Doh or some blue tack. Basically just bring something squidgy and something crunchy and a glass of water, but can you also bring a knife? Right. And there is a Facebook post now up on my Facebook page saying that if you want to comment on it and say hello, then you can. Right, I'm going to go and... I could pretend I'm going away to do really complicated science teacher things. I'm actually just going to try and make my hair look like I didn't just come out of the shower. And then we'll get started. Me. Right, let's do that. Oh no, I hope I haven't just woken up my child. Oh, here we go, good. This is the third time I've taught this lesson now, so I know which crispy cereal works best. Okay. Yep, got my Play-Doh. Got my board. I've got everything I need. Wipe that off the board. Oh, gross, my water's a bit oily. Ah, that's what you get when you reuse. It's good to reuse. Okay. Oh, there's my Lego. Splendid. Right, I'm flipping you. Let's do this. Oh, look at you liking this video. Thanks, Jams. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Hello, Science Alliance. Hello, my name is Lara. This is Day of Science. I stream free live lessons to home educators into YouTube, and then you can watch them on catch-up. Hello, if you're watching on catch-up. I never say hi to you. So, we're doing 5 lessons on theme parks. This is lesson 4. Excuse me. It's a bit of a standalone one. We're going to learn about aquariums. Because a lot of theme parks have zoos and aquariums. Zoos deserve like a whole separate module of lessons really, but I thought let's have a little look at aquariums. So I gave you a starter question. We'll answer it quite a bit later actually, but just so everyone's seen it. I showed you 7 faces and I said, how do you think each of these living things is feeling? So for each one, can you choose between probably happy, probably sad, and absolutely no idea? So you've got a bonobo, a chimpanzee, just learned the difference for this lesson. Another chimpanzee, that's Ham, who went into space thanks to NASA. Excuse me. That's a woman who plays volleyball. That's a model who's laughing, and a dolphin, and a clownfish. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. The first thing I want to talk about, because I'm a physics teacher, right? I know, you would think that aquariums were all about biology, but in fact everything is about physics, like energy and waves and electricity and whatever. So we're going to talk about something called material properties, which maybe sounds very dull. Oh no, it's not, it's fascinating. Have you got something crispy with you and something squidgy? Okay, so what does that actually mean? I'd like you to get your crispy thing and snap it if you could. You can do it with your fingers, or if you've got a knife, you could try and cut into it with a knife. What happens? Whoa! Oh, well done for coming to the YouTube version of this. Everything always behaves better on YouTube, I don't know why. And then with the squishy thing, try that again. A difference. Try snapping your squishy thing. Can you snap it? Because you can't, can you? You can't snap a squishy thing. There's no satisfying sound. It would be a terrible breakfast cereal. Why? Well, so yeah, physicists would call this a material property. Material just means stuff, right? Like glass is a material, wood, air is a material. And the property of something means how it behaves. So the 2 different things that I want to teach you about today, we will get to aquariums, is the word brittle. So brittle is a great physicsy word, which means something that breaks or shatters without changing shape first. And the opposite of brittle is ductile, which means something that can change shape or bend without breaking. So these knockoff shreddies I discovered over the course of this week are perfect because they're really brittle. So you can see, like, if you try and snap them, what you're doing when you're snapping something is you're basically kind of supplying it with energy, aren't you? You're trying to move it. And the shreddy is just, it doesn't bend at all, really. I just apply energy. It's a horrible waste of shreddies. I apply energy, and nothing happens until it breaks. So that would be a very brittle thing. This is all very, very brittle, right? Shatters easily. Something like Play-Doh is very ductile. It doesn't snap at all. It can change shape without breaking, right? I apply some energy and it just changes shape. It absorbs that energy really nicely. Sorry about my nails, but not sorry because gardening is fun. So let's bring this to aquariums, okay? Which one would you want the sides of an aquarium to be? You're in an aquarium. There's a wall in front of you with water and fish on the other side. What do you want that wall to be? Do you want it to be brittle, shatter easily, or do you want it to be able to bend, change shape without breaking? Do you want it to be brittle, shattering, or ductile? Absorb a lot of energy, bend without breaking. And while we're at it, can you name 3 other things you would want the sides of an aquarium to be? It can be really obvious. So I wrote this question before I thought about the answer. And then I thought, oh, I better change that, it's too hard, I can really only think of 2 things. And then I thought of a 3rd one, and then I thought of a 4th, and then suddenly loads of things came to me. So it can't be too obvious, but once you've thought of obvious ones, try and think of ones that aren't obvious as well. Okay, it's an aquarium. What do you want from your aquarium? Do you want the wall to be small? Do you want it to be really big? If you do want it to be really big, then what do you need that material to be like? Have you had to carry it up any stairs? You're having to like pack it up small and then make it big? What do you want that material to be like? How's the perfect material going to behave for you for this aquarium wall? You had some thoughts? I'm going to give you like 10 more seconds, see how many you can think of. You've got until the time it takes me to set up for the next activity. Alright, well, let's have a look at what actual like brittle and ductile stuff, why it behaves like that, because this is interesting. So metals are arranged in rows, yeah? Well, the particles in metals are arranged in rows, and this is one of the things that makes them very ductile. They can slide over each other. So the fantastic example that I read is, imagine a bookcase that isn't very well made, like a lot of our bookcases in our house. It's just bits of wood sort of nailed together like that. If you push that bookcase, what's going to happen to that bookcase? It's going to change shape, yeah? You might have seen this in your house, bookcases wobbling around. That's quite similar to how the particles in metals behave. So if you try and push a metal, it absorbs that energy. It just changes shape in the same way that a slidey bookcase changes shape. I found this out on the website obscuredinosaurfacts.com. Don't know why they were blogging about glass, but they did a great job. Whereas the particles of glass are totally different. They're bonded together in all directions, kind of like in sort of, and they're more randomly arranged. Apparently it's kind of like a bookcase with braces. So this is a sort of better made, sturdy bookcase. If you tried to push that bookcase, it wouldn't wiggle around because of the braces. Nothing would happen until you pushed hard enough that it just crumbled away. So this is how glass behaves as well. So the walls of your aquarium, you would actually want them to be a little bit ductile. You'd want them to be able to bend. If you imagine a tiny child running really, really fast through an aquarium, they're super excited because sharks, and they're holding, I don't know, a toy Triceratops, which is made of plastic. If they smack into that wall, the point of the Triceratops facing outwards, you don't want that glass to shatter, do you? You want the wall to be able to absorb a little bit of energy. Not like boing, but just very gently sort of change shape and absorb the energy so that it doesn't shatter. More like Play-Doh. More ductile. There may be a quiz about this at the end, so I need to keep using these words. You want it to be more ductile, able to absorb energy without breaking, and not brittle, not changing shape before it breaks. Okay, so let's have a look. Oh yeah, so the very first, I couldn't find a royalty-free picture, which is a shame because it's nice. But the first aquarium in England, where I am, was the fish house at London Zoo. But if you look at pictures, it's basically just a room with, I mean, it was great, you know, revolutionary in its time. But it's just lots of small fish tanks, like small glass fish tanks in a room, which these days might be a little bit disappointing if you go to an aquarium. So how do you get really big? This is what I was thinking, and I didn't think of this on my own. I had to research this. A lot of you will have been saying see-through. Well done. Yes, there are no two obvious answers. Obviously, you want the wall of your aquarium to be see-through. So glass and plastic, both see-through. Jolly good. Tick for that. Although, I didn't know this until I researched this lesson. Apparently, plastic lets more light in. Like, there are plastics that let more light in than glass. I think plastic lets like 80% of light in and glass 60%. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. So that's a kind of a vote for glass. You want it to be fairly thin, don't you? You don't want to feel like your fish are about a metre away from you. So this special type of glass called tempered glass and plastic, you can both make them fairly thin. If you've got any crunchy things left, I've really had a go at my knockoff shreddies today. Let's just do something else. If you have got a knife, can you try... This wasn't really working for me that well on Facebook, but can you try to put a small cut into your crispy thing and put a small cut into your squidgy thing and see what the difference is? Let's imagine that Triceratops has just rammed its way right into the wall and made a little breakage, right? Made a little crack. Let's try and recreate that crack. So how does Play-Doh behave when it gets a little crack? There we go. How does shreddies, knockoff shreddies, or brittle things in general behave when they get a little crack? Okay, so what I was hoping was that it would just like shatter into a gabillion pieces, but... So you can see, these are actually tougher than I thought, but you can see that crack's made a bit of a mess, whereas the crack in the Play-Doh hasn't. So that property is something called toughness, and particularly fracture toughness. So normal glass, if it gets a crack, the crack just spreads out everywhere. That isn't very tough. But tempered glass and plastic, you could use both of those in an aquarium, you'd be all right. Tempered glass gets used a lot for car windscreens. If you've seen a windscreen like this that's been broken, it hasn't got a crack in it, which has spread around everywhere and the whole thing's fallen out. It's kind of stayed where it is, so that's good. But ideally, you don't want it to crack in the first place, right? So it's got to be strong as well. You really want it to be strong to absorb a lot of energy without cracking at all. So tempered glass and plastic will both do that. You want it to be quite light, yeah, so it doesn't break under its own weight. Plastic is lighter than glass. It would be good if it wasn't easy to scratch. Glass is not easy to scratch. Obviously, you don't want it to like absorb water or react with water. Well done if you said that. You can connect pieces together without making a big scene. All right, one last thing. How many times can I use Play-Doh and knock up shreddies in activities? If you break your Play-Doh or your blue tack or your squishy stuff in half, and you get a broken shreddy or crispy thing, one of the things that you've just been hacking into, which one of those is easier to bond together again? I mean, I'm asking pretty obvious questions today. It's the ductile thing, isn't it? This isn't actually to do with it being ductile, really, but Play-Doh and blue tack, you can just smush them together and you can't really see the join. Whereas that shreddy, there's no way of getting that to stick together. You'd end up with a big long line of glue. And if you're trying to get a really big aquarium tank, you don't want to have to stick your sheets of glass together with loads of big thick seams because it would spoil people's view. So that's one for plastic. You can kind of melt the sides of bits of plastic and stick them together and hardly see any join at all. And plastic's also better because you can make really big pieces of it. And you can get stuff like this. Look at this aquarium in Hungary. What a gorgeous big piece. That's probably, it's probably a type of acrylic, a type of plastic, which you can heat up and bend into really big sheets. No joins at all. Isn't that splendid? So the first person ever to do this was someone called Kelly Tarleton in the aquarium in New Zealand, which is named after her. She was a marine archaeologist, exclamation mark in brackets, because what a job. And she was the first person to create these aquarium tunnels that you can walk through to see the fish. She heated up big sheets of plastic, acrylic, and then bent them. I mean, this is her aquarium. This was quite a long time ago, so this has probably been updated since. But there was a problem. To discuss the problem, we need a glass of water. Ideally, you need a glass of water and you need 2 fingers the same size. Apologies. I'm using a glass of water from my IGCSE lesson that I taught yesterday online, and I poured oil into it, so this is going to be a bit gross. But what I want you to do, if you've got a glass of water, is can you just get your 2 fingers and put them next to each other and make it so that one finger is in the glass of water and the other one is just outside the glass of water? What are you expecting to see? Are they going to look exactly the same? Is there going to be any difference? I feel like this is a lesson of obvious questions. Some of you are just going to know, but some of you might not ever thought about this before. What difference are we going to see? Here we go. So I've got a glass of water and then just air. I'm going to put my finger into both of them, but put the fingers next to each other so we can see if there's a difference. Oh, look at that! So if you come to my free live IGCSE lessons, what's stopping you? They're free. Then you know all about this by now. What's happening? It looks like my finger's been chopped in half. That's because of refraction. That's really cool. We've been learning about that at GCSE. You'll have to go and watch that. It's on YouTube now. We taught it. I taught it yesterday. But what we're looking at today is the finger in the water's bigger, isn't it? It looks much bigger. Why does it look bigger? Why does it look bigger? Why? So, right. This is where these theme park lessons that I've been teaching you are kind of joyous and kind of a bit annoying for me as a physics teacher, because usually we would pick one physics topic and we'd learn all about it, whereas for these ones we've been kind of dipping into lots of I'm getting a tissue off the floor because now my hand is covered in oil. We've been dipping into lots of different physics, so I want you to try and remember. I'm hoping that I've actually taught you the difference between brittle, doesn't change shape before it breaks, and ductile, changes shape before it breaks. I'm going to explain why your finger looks bigger in water, but I'm not actually expecting you to understand this. This is a couple of lessons worth of information, just all crammed into about 2 minutes, because I'm a physics teacher, right? So I want to tell you it, but don't worry about understanding it. Just, it'll get stored in your brain whether you like it or not, and you can find it in a few years' time if you like it, if it's useful. So imagine, I'm not going to use a fish, I'm going to use Wormy, because the Theatre of Science mascot Wormy doesn't get used very often. Here she is. Wormy is in a fish tank, and we've got the pane of sort of glass or whatever, acrylic, that the fish tank is made of, is slightly curving outwards, and we'll be on this side, okay? So this is the air. Light travels in straight lines. That's just what it does. So in this curved fish tank, light travels from the top of Wormy's head. It goes through the very centre of the curved bit. That's important. If it goes through the very centre, it doesn't change direction, it just travels in a straight line. But for reasons which I'm not going to bother to explain, you can watch my IGCSE lesson, which is on YouTube right now if you want to know this. Light coming from the side through the other bits of the curved window that aren't in the middle, it goes from Wormy's head in a straight line, but when it gets to that boundary, it curves. It gets curved inwards. So our eye, which is over here, sees light coming from Wormy's head, travelling in a straight line into our eye, and our brain knows that light travels in straight lines. It knows that that's what happens. So it sees this light carrying the information of Wormy's head, and it goes, all right, Wormy's head must be somewhere along that line. But then it sees this ray of light also carrying the information from Wormy's head, and it thinks, all right, Wormy's head must be somewhere along that line. And this is what the illusion is. Your brain makes up that the image of Wormy, or Wormy, is where these lines cross over. So this is how magnifying glasses work. Basically, your brain gets tricked into seeing a much bigger version of the thing. It's good, isn't it? And this is how curving lenses work. Now, can you see a problem? Can you see that? So we're back in our aquarium tunnel again. Can you see the problem? Here's a clue. Looking at it from the outside. Oh no. We're outside, aren't we? We're inside the glass looking out. I couldn't think of an experiment to do where we like put ourselves inside a glass of water and looked outwards, but this is a very different situation. So things that are shaped like magnifying glasses, this kind of lens, this makes rays of light curve inwards, like we've just seen. But there's another type of lens. If you love physics, then it's called a diverging lens or a concave lens. And that does the opposite. It makes rays of light go outwards. So here's the diagram for what happens if you're in an aquarium. Let's change this shape of this glass now. So now we're inside the tunnel, looking outwards at the fish. What happens then? Well, just like before, a ray of light goes through the very centre of the window, doesn't change direction, so that's fine. Your brain knows that there must be an image of Wormy somewhere along that line. But now another ray of light comes from Wormy's head and diverges. It goes off in the opposite direction. And our brain sees this and thinks, all right, Wormy's head must be somewhere along that line. And where those lines cross is where we see the image, and it's smaller. And this is actually what happened. I don't really know how aquariums have solved that problem now, but certainly in the olden times, the first aquarium tunnel, apparently the fish looked about a third smaller than they actually were. Which is, it must have been super annoying. I mean, it's all right the other way around, isn't it? It'd be really cool if you could make people think that the fish were a third bigger, but no, they were a bit smaller. I would say look out for that, but how are we gonna? I guess you'd have to be in an aquarium where they've got a tunnel and then you can see the fish from the other side. But I don't know how you're going to measure. Take a tape measure with you next time you go to an aquarium. Right, let's move on to biology, shall we? That was quite enough physics for an aquarium lesson. I did quite a lot of research into happiness, contentment in animals. How can you tell? So I asked you, what do you think each of these is feeling? For each one, is it probably happy, probably sad? Each one, I'm thinking, it took me a long time to find these photos. I think each one of these living creatures has at least a sort of trace of a smile on their face, right? Some of them kind of look like they're laughing. Some of them look like they're kind of thoughtfully smiling, except the clownfish, which looks really miserable. Well, let's briefly go through it. So bonobos, it turns out, they might smile to be friendly, or they might try to calm a situation down by smiling, or to get something they want. Basically, very similar to humans. In the same way that if we saw someone who we thought was maybe a little bit threatening, we might smile just to kind of show, think about it, but basically to show that they're dominant. Have you ever done that kind of nervous smile, like, oh, please like me, or please don't hurt me. That's what bonobos do, to try and calm a situation down if someone's getting up all in their face, or to just get something they want, to get food that they want. So yeah, like very similar to humans, I guess. It's more complicated than just smile equals happiness. Chimpanzees smile when they're nervous. And they also smile when they're playing and happy. So has this chimpanzee just seen a photographer and started to smile nervously, or is it happy? We don't know. One study showed that chimpanzees show their upper and their lower teeth when they're trying to say to someone, "You're more important than me." So again, this is Ham, NASA's chimpanzee. So we don't know what's happening. He could be laughing and absolutely loving it, or he could have loads of photographers really close up in his face and be surrounded by humans and be trying to say, "Please don't hurt me." We don't know. This human, we haven't got a clue how she's feeling, have we? She's very publicly playing volleyball, so she could be nervous, she could be happy. Maybe she's just seen a camera, so she's starting to smile. We don't know. I've put this model, could be furious or really bored. I don't know. It's just her job to smile, wasn't it? It's the curse of dolphins that they always look like they're doing a human smile. Obviously, not all animals show their feelings in the same way, and there's no reason why an animal that looks like it's smiling would be feeling the happiness that humans are feeling. It's just the shape of their mouths. Here's one just in the wild, chilling out, and it still looks like it's smiling, doesn't it? It's just really difficult for people campaigning against the ill treatment of dolphins in like theme parks where they have to perform because they always look like they're happy, even if they're not. So how do we know? Like for a fish, yeah? I mean, they're really not big on smiling. The clownfish's resting face isn't giving us any information really about how healthy it is. We know that fish feel pain and fear. How do we know when they're not okay? How do we know when fish are not okay? I'm actually going to ask you that. I really want a drink of water, but it's got oil in it. How can you tell? I've only got two ways, and one of them seems a bit silly. Well, not silly, really sad. I've only got two ways, so I'm not going to give you that long to think about it. If you went to an aquarium, what might be the signs that the fish were not, I'm not going to say happy, because, you know, it's a bit silly to try and measure every animal with emotions that we humans happen to feel, but content, not stressed. Have you got something? You've probably done better than me. Like I say, I didn't put a lot of thought into this. I've only got two. The first one, I'm sorry that it's very sad. Signs that an animal is okay is if it's alive. So I knew that Merlin Entertainment, a huge corporation, very much not a charity, a business whose job it is to make lots of money. I knew that they owned the Sea Life Centre, because I've heard of Sea Life Centres. There's a couple of theme parks in the UK where I am that have got Sea Life Centres. I didn't know that the Sea Life Centre was the biggest aquarium chain in the whole world. So Sea Life Centres are massive. They're everywhere, all over America and everything. So it's turned out to be really difficult to study the science of aquariums online when I was researching these lessons, because there's a lot of information on the Sea Life Centre website, which obviously just kind of makes it sound like they're brilliant and talks a lot about conservation. And there's a lot of information on this charity's website called Freedom for Animals. They've actually got a whole website called Sea Lies, which, well, they say, I've got to be careful here because I'm a science teacher, so I really want to stick to the science. Here's their website, Freedom for Animals website, and it's called Sea Lies. They've deliberately made it look a bit like Sea Life, and they say that they're showing the truth behind the world's largest aquarium brand. So I had a look on this website, but again, I wanted to be careful, right? Because I'm a science teacher, so I don't just want to tell you stuff unless it's based on scientific fact. So here's a post that they wrote on their website called Case Study Sharks and Aquariums. It was written in 2014, that's important. So, you know, they say a lot of things. They say, like, in many cases, large shark species are dumped into unsuitable, restrictive and inappropriate tanks where they do not survive or thrive for very long. I wouldn't tell you that just from reading it on this website unless there was any evidence. So I read it because, like I say, you know, got to find me information where I can and then check it later. So I found this. In 2010, Birmingham Sea Life acquired two scalloped hammerhead sharks. Both were about 3 years old, the first to be displayed in a public aquarium. So I thought, all right, well, that is a fact that Birmingham Sea Life Centre has 2 hammerhead sharks. Cool. So I looked up the hammerhead sharks in the Birmingham Sea Life Centre, and I don't want to make you really sad, but there's literally only one they died. They both died, did the hammerhead sharks. There's only one website telling you that, and it's one TripAdvisor review, which presumably the Sea Life Centre can't take down, from someone in late 2014 saying, yeah, we came a few years ago, loved the hammerhead sharks, so came back, and the staff said that they died. That was really sad because they were only young sharks and they're endangered. And the Sea Life Centre have replied saying, oh yeah, the whole team was devastated by this, as you can imagine. Like, obviously, if you work in the Sea Life Centre, you probably really love fish. A full post-mortem proved inconclusive. That means they tried to work out how the fish had died and they couldn't work it out, and we are working with our vets to determine the cause of their passing. And then there's just nothing else. Like, there's no other information. If you scour the Sea Life Centre website, you would never know that they had ever had any hammerhead sharks in Birmingham. Again, the Sea Life website, I don't bang on about it too much. I want to stick to the science. The Sea Life website has a bit more about it. It said, at the time of death, they were about 2.5 metres. Some staff expressed concerns that the tank was too small for such a large or active species, but they were overruled. And that's all you can find out about it. There's a little note on one website about, on Reddit, that Alton Towers used to have a hammerhead. And again, the person who knows about aquariums says, oh, it looks like the tank's too small. And again, there's now no trace on the internet of Alton Towers ever having had hammerhead sharks. So, number one, if animals are alive, that's a good sign that they're healthy. And we've got to watch out for sea life just disappearing and no one saying anything about it. The second one I learned about, how you tell that an animal was healthy, I was excited by because I knew this, but I didn't know that it was a scientific thing and that obviously wonderful people had studied it. So you probably know that if you go to a zoo and you see an animal pacing backwards and forwards in its cage, that is not a good thing. That's a big sign that the animal is like stressed or bored, yeah? I didn't know that this had a name. It's called, I don't think I'm going to be able to pronounce it right, locomotive, is it stereotypes or stereotypies? It's probably stereotypes, isn't it? You can say stereotypical behaviour. And what it means is any like repetitive behaviour that doesn't seem to be for any reason. And it's usually a sign that an animal is bored or stressed. It doesn't happen to wild animals. You'll never see a wild animal doing a repetitive, stereotypical behaviour that no one knows what it's for. But apparently fish do it. I didn't know this. Fish do something called glass surfing. So if you've ever seen a fish in a tank, like doing that on the glass, just kind of going up and down and up and down, that is a locomotive stereotypy. Yeah, and if it's just been put in the tank, then it might be just exploring. But if it's doing it over and over again, like all the time, for a long period of time, then that would be a sign that it is very stressed and bored. So that was useful to know that. And it's just so exciting that scientists are trying to get the information so that we can treat animals better. I read this PDF so that you didn't have to. I didn't read it all because it's 379 pages, but I searched for fish and various keywords in it. And found out some interesting stuff. Again, if you've been to a zoo and you've ever seen how they like hide food around the animal's enclosure for it to try and find, or you might see a polar bear that's got a fish but it's frozen into a block of ice and the polar bear has to like gnaw on the ice to get it out. That is the zoo trying to stop these stereotypical behaviours, trying to keep the animal excited. So here we go. You don't have to read all this. But obviously in the wild, animals have to hunt their own food, and that's very stimulating for them. That stops them getting bored. So if they're just getting fed dead food, like you see penguins just being handed dead fish in sea life centres, that could make them feel bored. So they've come up with all kinds of solutions, like food, searching for food, basically chasing, capturing food, or processing, like if plucking the feathers off something. Those are all like natural foraging behaviours, and if you can try and get animals in captivity to do that, they're more likely to feel less stressed. So live food is a good thing to be able to give them. Anything that makes food more difficult or time consuming to get tended to reduce pacing. This is in not fish, sadly, because we don't seem to care about fish as much, which is interesting itself. But anyway, feeding them at the same time apparently wasn't a good idea because then they start to kind of anticipate the food coming and that's boring for them. It was interesting that they did it to some polar bears, and one of the polar bears, it did reduce its stereotypical behaviour, but the other one it didn't, so it's difficult to know. I loved this. I thought you'd like this. Some zoos just throw everything at the problem. Some seals had in their enclosure Bottles, boxes, balls, trays, buoys, wood blocks, ice blocks, mirrors, water spray fountains, music, floating mats, islands, fish pulled along the water, and self-propelled bottles containing fish. And this did reduce the stereotypical behaviour of the seals from about 65% to 23%. So that's good, isn't it? But we don't seem to care as much about fish as we do about animals. There's a lot of stuff online about how to stop lions and tigers and polar bears getting bored. There's not as much information out there about fish. Because some of you will know about sharks. Okay, I have to teach you a little bit about an animal because it's an aquarium lesson. A lot of sharks need to swim all the time to get oxygen into their gills. So if you're an animal that has to swim all the time anyway, how is a human going to notice if you're doing a repetitive behaviour? Let's learn a little bit about one of the most popular aquarium sharks. Well, sharks, for a start, have different types of swimming. I did not know this. Gliding and cruising. So your sand tiger shark is really popular with aquariums because basically it just stays alive. It's very easy to keep sand tiger sharks alive. Also because they look super mean, so they swim with their mouths open, but they're actually not very aggressive towards humans. I think also as well, it's really useful for aquariums because you hear the word tiger shark and you possibly think about this, lass. I shouldn't say that. All animals are beautiful, but this is a tiger shark. This is not very closely related to the sand tiger shark, but it sort of makes the name scarier. There's not many photos of tiger sharks online because you do not keep these babies in aquariums. Anyway, the sand tiger shark lives around here, the coast of Australia, down the bottom of the continent of Africa, around South Africa, South America. They're critically endangered for all kinds of reasons. They live near land, so they're more affected by pollution. They migrate all over the place. They can travel up to like 600 miles, which makes them quite difficult to protect, because if you're in the country of South Africa and you're like, well, I'm going to protect all my sand tiger sharks, they're crossing borders. They're not only your responsibility, so that makes it quite difficult to protect them. They're slow swimmers. They do look scary, don't they? That's just its resting face. They live up to 190 metres deep. They get to be about 2.5 metres long. And they're the only shark, apparently, which gulps air at the surface. I didn't know that. It's to make it float just enough to be able to hover in the water while it's hunting to catch fish. So these sand tiger sharks, they've got to swim all the time to get oxygen into their bodies. But obviously that would be extremely tiring. So what they do is they do cruising, which is basically just swimming, like upwards to the surface of the water. That's me doing a shark swimming side to side. Dolphins are like this. Science. Sharks are like this, side to side. So that obviously uses up quite a lot of energy. And then what they do is they glide back down again. So they're still moving and getting oxygen through their gills, but they're not using up energy all the time. It's good, isn't it? Cruising. Gliding. You might have spotted a problem already. Aquariums don't tend to. I mean, they just don't. Like sand tiger sharks in the wild swim up to 600 miles. They don't have the space in an aquarium to do this cruising and this gliding. So they've basically got to just keep cruising all the time. And about 35% apparently of captive ones have got problems with their spines. So I looked up the science of this and I managed to find a website that was not Sea Lies or the Sea Life Centre. It's just this kind of student newspaper. So I thought, that'll do. Your students as well. Sort of thing that you might write. Here we go. I just found it on this website, The Campus. So not for profit. They're not making any money out of everyone. And here's what they had to say about this. So there's this kind of mystery with sand tiger sharks in captivity. This professor, I can't see his name, but to be honest, it doesn't matter. Sorry, dude. He discovered that they all have quite weak, and most of them have weak and deformed spines. There he is, Daniel Huber. So one of the things that was happening was they weren't getting enough vitamin C and zinc. That was maybe why their spines were so fragile. But the other thing was they're doing what some studies suggest is a stereotypical behaviour. They're just swimming round and round and round the tank in the same direction, and also sort of because of the tank's shape, that's what they do. So it's putting more stress on one side of their spine than the other, which is, yeah, obviously not good for their already quite weak spines. The lesson is, the moral of the story is, Man alive, keeping fish is just really complicated because there's all different kinds of species of shark and they all behave in different ways, and it's just incredibly difficult. I'm going to say impossible to observe all the different behaviours of all the different sharks and a fish and find out how they... Anyway, let's end with a little puzzle. Which of these diagrams shows what would happen if you poked 3 identical holes in a water bottle? Let's talk about one other type of sea creature before I do my tiny little quiz to finish. So this is actually a slide from an IGCSE lesson I taught 2 years ago. I've put, can you believe some people say physics is boring? If you get a bottle, I've got a milk carton here, and you stab 3 holes in it, one above the other, what would you see when the water poured out? Would you see the bottom hole shooting water out the furthest, and then the middle hole shooting out second furthest, and the top hole, the water just flopping out? Would you see the top one shooting out most and the bottom one shooting out the least? Or would you see them all shooting out and converging in the same place? If you're at all interested in this, you should definitely start watching my IGCSE physics lessons, because I can make this activity really complicated. But we're not going to make it complicated today. I'm just going to show you the answer and then tell you how that relates to animals in captivity. Right, you need to come round here with me. Have you got an answer? Have you decided on one? Oh, even more people liking. Thanks, chums. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Right, I've got my old Rude Health almond milk bottle here. I've stabbed 3 holes in the side, and I'm going to open the lids and hold it up, and we're going to find out. Oh, the suspense is killing me. Here we go. I hope we're going to find out. Come on, you can do it, you can do it. Come on. Spurt, spurt. Wow, that is a tremendous fail. So let's squeeze it. Ah, not that much. Why isn't it spurting? I know why it's not spurting. It's because water particles are sticky. Wait, I'll get a pen and I'll jab my holes a bit more. There's one. Oh, I know why. I know why. Yeah, it's because water particles are slightly sticky, and because I was being eco-friendly and using a carton, because I didn't have a plastic bottle, the water has been absorbed by the carton overnight, hasn't it? Because I got lazy and I didn't replace this from when I taught this yesterday. And the water particles, because they kind of stick together like little magnets, they've all stuck together. There we go. That's better. Can you see that? What's happening? I'll put my piece of grass behind it so you can see properly. What is happening there? Oh, look at that. So I don't know if you can tell, the hot alarm is going out. The bottom one's going out the furthest, okay? You might just have to take my word for it. I'm going to do one more scoop. My slightly oily water. Yeah, the bottom one is going out the furthest because the water at the bottom is under more pressure. Why is the water at the bottom under more pressure? Actually, they do kind of look like they're combining there, don't they? How annoying. There we go. Oh, you can just about see that the bottom hole is coming out the furthest. Because there's loads of water particles pushing down on the water, so the bottom is under more pressure than the water at the top. It's the height of the water that makes a difference to the pressure. There you go. So, I was going to say, you don't get really, really, really deep sea animals in aquariums because they are used to this tremendous pressure. You might have seen famously the famous picture of a very sad looking blobfish that got brought up to the surface of the water. I was going to say there's no blobfish in captivity, and then I looked it up, and there is one, or there certainly was one. The latest article I could find was talking about Bob the blobfish in Japan. I don't know how they got it up to the surface and kept it alive, but you can keep deep sea creatures in really pressurized tanks. You've got to artificially make them much more pressurized using pumps so that they get the pressure that they're used to, because they're used to the weight of loads of water particles pushing down on them. So I found this article, excuse me, from Hamilton Middle School Press, and I thought, I can't phrase it better than this. Here is the only blobfish in captivity. He's called Bob. He was accidentally, apparently, they say, caught in a net in 2017. And he's in an aquarium in Fukushima in Japan. He's the only blobfish on display in the whole world. And what I loved was, oh yeah, so look, he apparently got these spines. This was a response to his body coming to the surface. But what I loved was the quotes from the children. Apparently they've got to keep his tank quite dark because that's his natural environment. One of the middle school students said, "He's ugly, creepy, and will haunt my dreams." And another student said, "Is that even a blobfish?" With another adding, "It looks like a fish." So I thought, oh, that's really interesting. Like the pictures that we see of blobfish are them when they've been crushed by, well, when they've been, yeah, when they're in less pressure, so their bodies look different. So people were kind of disappointed that it didn't look like it looked in the pictures because it was in its natural environment. You just can't win, can you? You can't win. I looked at whether you could get anglerfish in aquariums, and I found this. Anglerfish on show at Blackpool Aquarium. Cool, 2012. But anglerfish live for like 20, 25 years, so you might be thinking, brilliant, let's get to Blackpool Aquarium. Well, if you go to the Sea Life Centre's Blackpool Aquarium now, you will find absolutely no mention of anglerfish there. So yeah, sorry, don't know what happened there. Not being terribly open with their information. Again, you would think, wouldn't you, like that on the Sea Life Centre website there'd be a section where they tell you how they transport their animals. Couldn't find out anything about that at all. How many animals do they get from the wild? Couldn't find that out either. They're being quite cagey about that. Anyway, the answer was A. That's right. The answer was A, which I obviously showed you with my incredible demonstration. Shall we do a quiz? All right, it's the usual. I've got 4 questions for you. 4 questions. Can you choose the letter that you think is the right answer? And then in the end, you will have spelled a 4-letter word. Yeah? Thank you so much for liking. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for supporting me. If you support me today, I will send you various issues of Theatre of Science magazine and rainbow glasses that are awesome. I'll tell you more about that at the end. And if you want to go to my Facebook page and comment, then I will read out your name at the end and say hello. Anyway, choose the answers to these 4 questions, yeah? And then we'll go through it. What's a good name? This was so long ago, so sorry if you can't remember. What's a good science name for shatters easily? If a material like a knockoff Tesco Shreddy shatters very easily, I wish I hadn't done that with my computer. If it doesn't change shape before it breaks, what's the word for that? If you think it's brittle, then write an F. If you think it's ductile, write a D. And if you think it's strong, write a W. What's the good science word for a material that doesn't really change shape before it breaks? Brittle, F, ductile, D, or strong, W. Am I showing my age that literally every time I say the word ductile, my head goes, ductile, woo. Anyway, can you give one reason why plastic is better than glass for aquarium displays? This is hard and mean because I only mentioned it really briefly. Why is plastic better than glass for aquarium displays? If you think it's because plastic is better because it's brittle, write an I. If you think plastic is better because it lets more light in, write a U. And if you think plastic is better because it's heavier, write an O, please. One reason why plastic is better than glass for aquarium displays, I could have given you loads of different answers, but is plastic brittle, write an I. Does plastic let more light in, write a U. Is plastic heavier, write an O. Question number 3. I'll show you the answers again I'll show you the question before we go through it. What does it mean if a dolphin smiles? What does it mean if a dolphin smiles? If it means it's happy, write a D. If it means nothing, that's just its face, then write an S. And if it means it's stressed, write a G, please. What does it mean if a dolphin smiles? If it's D, it's happy. If it's S, nothing, that's just its face. And G, if it's stressed. And finally, life at the bottom of the ocean is under... Oh, I've just thrown a lot of science at you today. Life at the bottom of the ocean is under something pressure than at the top. But what kind of pressure? Is life at the bottom of the ocean under less pressure? Write an H. If you think it's under more pressure, write an S. And if you think it's under the same amount of pressure as anywhere else, then write a K. Life at the bottom of the ocean is under something pressure than the top. Under less pressure, write an H. Under more pressure, write an S. Under the same amount of pressure, write a K. All right. What's a good science name for shatters easily? The answer was brittle. Something is brittle if it shatters easily or if it doesn't change shape before it snaps. One reason why plastic is better than glass for aquarium displays. So glass is brittle, plastic is good at absorbing energy and just bending, not snapping. It's plastic, weirdly, what I read anyway, it lets more light in, so that's good. So the answer was U. If a dolphin smiles, it doesn't mean anything, does it? That's just a dolphin's face. So the answer was S. And life at the bottom of the ocean is under more pressure than at the top because there's more water particles pushing down. So the mystery word was fuss. Did I catch you out? It would have been too obvious, wouldn't it, if the mystery word was fish? But that was really mean of me because fish was an option, but you had to get some answers wrong to get the answer fish. All right, you lot. That is the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really enjoyed researching this one. I'm going to go over to my Facebook page now and see if anyone has left me any interesting comments, or indeed any comments, because all of your comments are interesting. And then I'm going to dash off because I've got a Lego story show about clocks to teach in about 37 minutes. And I need to reset my story time. So yeah, I should say, if you are enjoying these lessons, or if you're new and you just enjoyed that and you're thinking, it's weird that she isn't getting paid for this, I actually am. It's so weird. How it works is, I started it in lockdown and I'm still doing it. I just stream free live lessons. The printouts are for the lessons. They're all stored on my website, as are all the past lessons. My thing is, I just make everything as accessible as possible. Everything as free can be, and then I just say, if you can pay me £5 a month, can you please pay me £5 a month, and that's enough to keep me going. And you are. So if you go to my about section, because you're watching on YouTube at the moment, if you go to my about section on YouTube, there'll be this link to this website called Coffee, and if you sign up to support me with £5 a month, I will send you really nice things. It's such a cool business model. We made it up. I made it up. Yeah, it just, you wouldn't think it works, but it does, because there's enough of you watching that £5 a month from most of you is enough that it adds up to be my wage. So if you sign up to support me, an important deadline has just passed, and I'm wondering how strict to be. If you sign up to support me on Coffee for £5 or £6 a month, you get a past magazine or two, because I write Theatre of Science magazine. It takes me ages. And I love doing it. It's the only thing my supporters get that nobody else gets. So this one's about sleep. If you sign up for £6 a month, you get this one. If you sign up for £5 a month, you get the mould issue. You get the mould issue with £6 as well. This one comes with organic lavender and a comic and loads of information, an origami koala and a choose your own adventure. And then usually you would be on the list for when the next Theatre of Science magazine came out. But it can take me ages to write it, like months and months and months and months, sometimes a year to write it. But the new one has just come out. The new one's here in my hand. The new one is filling up my kitchen. We're putting free gifts into bags and packaging it off as I speak. So I said that the deadline was like a couple of nights ago at midnight. So I've been doing this deal where if you sign up at the moment, you get the welcome pack as normal with the rainbow glasses and things. And you get this new Spies issue. But the Spies issue is massive, and I sort of don't want everyone to have it. I only want my supporters to have it, because like I say, some people have supported me for a really long time, and this is the only thing I have to say thank you to them. But I haven't actually packaged it up yet. So if you sign up now, if you sign up today, I'm going to say I'll still send you one of these, and then I'm pulling it. Yeah, because this is my last lesson of the week. Well, my last day of lessons. So if you sign up today, you're still going to get the new Spies issue, which has got a beautiful jigsaw with a kind of secret message hidden in it, and an amazing comic that my husband drew for me and I wrote, and a choose your own, well, not choose your own adventure, but a beautiful story about spying. It comes with a free little cube of sealing wax, so that you can do this kind of little sealing activity like Mary Queen of Scots did. Yeah, I'm super proud of it. Some of you have already got it. It's dribbling out because it's just taking ages to pack it up. And the stickers are in alphabetical order, so it's no... If you haven't got yours, it's not because I love you less. It's just because there's no way. Plus, I love you all the same. But like, I think I would have tried to post it to my oldest supporters first because they've been waiting the longest, but I couldn't do that. Anyway, right, let's have a look. So if you sign up now, if you go to my About section on YouTube or my sign up button on my Facebook page and sign up now, then you will get 2 magazines at least, which is unusual. Or if you sign up with £6 a month, you get 3. Right, I'm saying my hellos. Here's Abba. Hello, Abba. Hello. Here's Dexy. All right, Dexy, how are you? Hello, Magnus. Hello. Hello, Thomas and Isabel. Oh, Granny and Grandad have gone home. No, Granny and Grandad have gone back to the caravan, so you're feeling a bit down. Bet Granny and Grandad are feeling a bit down, aren't they? Oh, well, I'm glad that I get you to cheer me up by telling you about, like, dead hammerhead sharks. Sorry. Anyway, it was interesting, wasn't it? It wasn't all fun, but it was interesting, hopefully. Hello, Jackson. Oh, you really enjoyed this lesson. And so has Angie. Well, that's nice, thank you. Oh, that's very nice. Oh, morning, Lara. Is ductile where the name for duct tape comes from? I don't. Duct tape, would it? Is duct tape ductile? Oh, yeah, I suppose it is. I don't know. I'm enjoying the word duct tape. My brother and I, we lived on a farm in the countryside. So once we'd finished just exploring outdoors, there wasn't a lot to do. And we used to watch a lot of snooker when I was a kid. And there was a snooker player called Mark King. And my brother and I had this conversation that we both remember to this day, where we just spent an hour just laughing about Mark King's name and how it was impossible to say the name Mark King. You just said Mark King. It wasn't interesting to anyone except us, but I've just realised duct tape is the same. It's really annoying me. No. Duct tape. You can't say duct tape. You say duct tape, don't you? Duct tape, but it's duct tape. Anyway. Mark King. If you've got a name like that, get in touch. Mark King. Anyway. Edmund is... Oh, wait. No, I haven't finished it. We love the way brains work. We'll check out the aquarium on the submarine ride at Legoland next time we go. The windows on the submarine are concave. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If they're concave, yeah, they might make everything look smaller. We'll ask the guys that work there for measurements. Yeah, do it. Mark, Talitha and Simon. The same Mark who kept Mum and Dad up talking about inertia and firing crosswords at them last night. Oh, I think I got a message from you that I haven't read. Excellent. Keep up the good work. Edmund is currently doing a project on sharks and wanted to show these Lego sharks he designed. Each model is a different species. No way. That's awesome. Edmund, let's have a look. Each shark is... Oh, look at that. Look at these Lego sharks that are different species. Oh, that's so good. Oh, Edmund, you're really annoying me because I've done loads of research on sharks and I'm forgetting it all. I know what that is. Is that a goblin shark? It's a goblin shark, isn't it? Because of the nose? It's a goblin shark. And obviously that must be a tiger shark, is it? Is it a sand tiger shark? Because... No, sorry, hammerhead shark. I'm not going to embarrass myself any further. Is that one a great white? I'm gonna stop. Is that one a... Anyway, no, I'm gonna stop because I just taught a lesson on aquariums, so it'd be really embarrassing if I'm mislabeling all my sharks. Hello, Aurelia. Oh, Aurelia, as I was talking, I manifested Theory of Science magazine into your house. That's amazing. It's just arrived. That's so good. So you've got the new Spice issue. Ah, dudes, that's so cool. Hello, Robin and Hissy. Robin loves fish. If you are ever in Galway, we love the aquarium there. It focuses on marine life you would find in the local area. Oh, what a good idea. That's such a good idea. Like, of course. Yeah. Aquariums are thinking that we want to see really exotic animals. I would actually be much more interested if someone said, look, this is on your coastline. That's a great idea. Hello, Frank. Hello, it's Joyful Maths with Ruth. And Frank, hello. Say hi to Effie for me. Effie, hi. Effie, doesn't matter. Hello, Shuki and Arza and Eunice and Salah and Musa. Hello. I don't want to break any data protection laws, but, well, I won't. But I might have packed something up for you the other day. Oh, no, it's Effie. Hello. Effie says hi. Effie wants you to know she's been to a zoo and seen real-life lemurs. Oh, lemurs with the long tails. Ah, the lemurs. Hello, Nor. Hello. Nor. In fact, I literally just, again, I'm sorry, I really am breaking data protection laws. I just put your name, or I just stamped your envelope because I was thinking, oh, it's Nor, I'd better try and find a stamp with an animal on it. I mean, I know all of you love animals. I just happened to see Nor's name, so I'd look out for your stamp. Hello, Lyra and Anya and Eli. We've been to Blue Planet Aquarium and have 2 fish that are mollies. They are called Hagrid because he's huge. And Kai, nice. Oh, hello, Bella. I know you love sharks. I was thinking about you. I couldn't find, you're the one who's got like the whole, you were the one that told me about rockfish, aren't you? I'm sure it was you. Wasn't it you? It was. If it's not now, I'm going to be horribly embarrassed. I thought it was you that made me aware of that. Hello, Isaac. Can you do a Lego show on scorpions versus spiders? Yeah, that's a good idea. Scorps versus spiders, I'd write. Anyway, you've reminded me that I need to go because I need to set up Lego Story Show. And there's only 28 minutes before it starts. She says, I'm just going to kind of chat. Oh, Dixie, got your magazine yesterday. Couldn't help yourself because you did the jigsaw and the secret locked letter. Good. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, awesome. Well done. I really struggled to get a good photo of this shark we saw recently in Montpellier Aquarium. It made all the children scream and cry, as it should. That's exactly the job of a shark in aquarium, isn't it? Is to make the children scream and cry. Let's have a look at it. It made the children scream and cry. Oh, so this is a shark that is swimming with his mouth open. Was that the other common shark in aquariums is a black-tipped reef shark, but I'm looking at the fin and I'm thinking it's got an open mouth. It's quite possibly a sand tiger shark, isn't it? I don't know. I'd say, I don't know because the photo's too blurry. I also don't have a fantastic knowledge of different shark species, as Edmund has just revealed. But anyway, right, let's have a look and see if there's any more comments. And then I really had better go. I really better go. I'm just looking at the Lego person just in a glass of water. Oh, hello, Henry. I think that aquariums are quite cruel sometimes. I went to one in Mocha and there were beluga whales. They're such large animals and such a small tank. Henry, yeah, I'm with you. Oh, I didn't talk about, I haven't really got time to talk about it now. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, I'm so snotty. The Sea Life Centre, this is fact. The Sea Life Centre had loads of information on their website about how it was very cruel to force mammals to perform, and they were campaigning against like another aquarium in America saying you must stop getting your like whales and dolphins to perform because it's really cruel. You know, there's quite a lot of science to suggest that it's stressful for the animals. And these are animals that are obviously very intelligent and make fantastic sort of family bonds and are often sometimes captured from the wild. And at the same time, it turns out that the Sea Life Centre was running a Sea Life Centre in China, which was making was it beluga whales, I think, perform, 3 of them. But the link, there just was no mention of it on the Sea Life Centre website at all. And the link to their Chinese aquarium actually links to a different aquarium which didn't have mammals performing. So it was like animal welfare charities that sort of found this out and campaigned, and eventually they got sent to a what's it called? You know, like a place where animals that get rescued go. Which almost made me more angry because what the Sea Life Centre did was they didn't go, oh yeah, okay, we'll use some of our money to rescue the animals. What they did was they've got a sort of charity. So I think like members of the public donated money to this charity to rescue the whales. It's like, if you caught me doing something really wrong, I would just say really sorry and spend my own money on fixing it. I wouldn't go, oh yeah, I'm really sorry guys, I've set up this charity, can you give me loads of money so I can... Anyway, Henry, if we ever meet, we will have much to say about this. Oh look, that's nice. Dexy's saying hello to Lyra. Edmund, are you going to tell me what sharks they are? Thank you. The yellow one is a nurse shark. I should have known that. And the pink one is a goblin shark. Okay, cool. Thanks. That makes me feel better. Oh, what? Maya is doing a witch. Whoa. Sorry. What? Maya's doing a witch magazine. Very exciting news. I will send you a copy. Deeply exciting news. I'm trying to add things you talk about in your lessons. Oh, wow. What is this? No, I didn't know this. Sweet peas. Wait. When you said witch magazine, do you mean a magazine about witches? Or do you mean, oh yeah, look, there's all the information I just gave you. Can I show everybody? Is that okay? Oh my goodness, I'm so snotty. Sweet pea fairy sweet peas are known for their sweet fragrance and colours of pastel. I didn't know that. These plants are easy to grow and need regular watering. Oh, right. My grandpa was a massive fan of sweet peas. He used to grow loads of different sweet peas. So I do have a fondness for them, but I didn't actually know that they smell sweet. Is a petal ductile or brittle? Oh my days, that's an amazing fact. Wow, that's awesome. And then you lift up that flap to get the answer. That's so good. Oh my goodness. Now I feel really jealous that my magazine doesn't have lifting flaps. I think my husband might just start living in a different house if I said that our magazine had to have flaps. Hello, Willow and Darcy. Hello. Hello, Henry. You can tell I'm like now just forcing the snot back down again. I'm gonna have to go. Thank you. My throat is not a lot better. I'm still doing excited voice, which isn't helping. Hello, Imogen Ophelia. Hello. Oh, Jancy. What? Jay, Daisy. Okay, we have to separate Jancy out into 3 different people because they are Jay, Daisy, and Daniel, and it's Daniel's 12th birthday on Saturday. That's in 2 days' time. Happy birthday, 12. Oh, that's big, isn't it? That is big. On the cusp of teenage. Oh, Lana and Finley are here. Hello. You don't think that it's right to keep animals in captivity? Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't want to say. I tried to make this lesson as science as possible because obviously my opinion shouldn't really come into it. But yes, I also think that way. Right. I think I've seen everyone's comments. Sorry, sometimes Facebook mixes them up a little bit. So I'm sorry if you've said hello to me and I haven't read it out. Then just give me a nudge, right? Comment again, and then I'll see it later. But I have to go because I've got 22 minutes until the Lego Story Show about clocks starts. So if you're new and you don't know how it works, I do this sort of all ages lesson, which is the one that most people come to. I do an IGCSE physics lesson, which is kind of niche, but you should come. And I do a Lego Story Show, which is where I just chat about a thing that you asked me to learn about this week. And I do a story told in Lego, and we do an activity. And this week it's on clocks. And the Lego Story Show is all a mess. So I'm going to go. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much to the person who literally just signed up on Coffee. I can't tell you what an amazing feeling it is when I'm literally doing my job and someone pays me for the job, like at the same time. It's so super exciting. So yeah, if you want to find the link to Coffee, I'm getting better at putting it in more places. It's definitely in my YouTube About section, and it might even be in the description of this video. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much. Today is the last day. Definitely, because otherwise it's not fair on everyone else. It's the last day for you to sign up and get, if you sign up with £5, you get the welcome pack with the mould magazine in, which comes with a home compostable plastic bag, and you can grow your own mould. If you sign up with £6, you get that and the sleep issue, and all of you, if you sign up today, will get the Spies magazine, and then I'm taking it out of commission for a bit. Okay, I'll see you all very soon. Thank you so much for coming. Bye!